welcomes the participants to the Weekend Talk program. The program is conducted under Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, 75 years of India's independence. So we will start our Weekend Talk program with the beautiful Sanskrit shloka, Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya, which tells us and inspires us to lead us from ignorance to the truth, darkness to the light, and death to the immortality. So this is our 15th Weekend Talk program. The talk is on safety engineering management and analytics. There is an announcement regarding the International Conference on Maintenance and Intelligent Asset Management, IIT Kharagpur, and along with Federation University, Australia, organizing the conference. So the date for the conference is from 12th to 15th December. The three key articles are asset management and systems, reliability, availability, and maintainability and maintenance management, safety engineering and analytics, security, risk management, and human factors. So the important dates are for abstract submission deadline up to 24th September 2021, notification of abstract acceptance up to 30th September 2021, paper submission deadline up to 22nd October 2021, and notification of paper acceptance up to 30th October 2021. So myself Shinjana Chaudhary, research scholar from IIT Kharagpur, with the other moderators Mr. Shobik Das and Mr. Ashish Garg from IIT Kharagpur, research scholars, and along with Mrs. Mom Mitra from Tata Steel, would like to welcome the dignitaries on the virtual dais, Professor J. Maiti, Chairman of COE SCA, and Professor Obi Krishna, convener of the Weekend Talk program, and our today's expert speaker, Mr. Neeraj Kumar Sinha. So there is an other announcement. There are many requests to conduct short-term certificate courses on various topics, online, offline, and hybrid. They COE SCA scheduled all those, and we will announce shortly regarding those topics. Your requests are good inputs to us. Thank you. So now I would like to welcome Professor J. Maiti to formally welcome our today's speaker, Mr. Neeraj Kumar Sinha. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shinjana. Thank you, Mr. Sinha, for accepting our request to present your talk on prevention through design applied to major construction projects, case study from Tata Steel. Prevention through design is probably the best option to prevent accident, and you are kind enough to accept to present on this very important topic. Mr. Sinha is having illustrious career. He joined Tata Steel as graduate trainee and has experience in mechanical maintenance, engineering projects, TQM. He has already achieved many heights in Tata Steel. He is presently Chief Safety, and he has been executing several important projects from design, engineering, erecting, commissioning for coke plant and similar other projects in Kalinganagar, Tata Steel Kalinganagar. And he has been awarded for his work, and in fact Tata Steel, as you all know, is probably our extended family of IIT Kharagpur, and Mr. Sinha is also our family member. With this brief introduction, I request Mr. Sinha to give his lecture, and I request all in fact, I welcome all the participants for this weekend talk. Mr. Sinha, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Maiti. Good evening, everyone. Before I proceed, I would like to thank Dr. Maiti and Dr. OBK, who has given me the opportunity to speak in this weekend talk. Thank you, thanks a lot, and of course Soubik and Sinjana for helping me out during these other sessions. In fact, so I'm going to share my slide, and so hope it is visible. And as you have already said, I'll be talking prevention through design in major construction project. Basically, before I get into the subject, I would just like to brief about myself. I have worked both in greenfield as well as a brownfield project, and around 14-year experience in project and construction. So, as you guys know, that construction is a very hazardous sector, needless to say, in fact. And everywhere the construction, normally you'll find construction going on, and India is booming. A lot of construction is coming, and the hazards are unknown, in fact, and it constantly change the work environment. Basically, the main problem, in fact, in the next slide also I have mentioned this, is that it is continuously changing. The work environment is continuously changing, and it is, kind of a mobile thing. So record and trends of last 45 years has shown that construction industry is a high fatality and injury rates are very high, in fact. So if we talk about construction sector, just a small brief exactly like what is happening around this. So if we see here, the construction industry account for 31% of all fatal injuries to the employees, means whatever, workplace safety or anything is happening around. So the fatality rate at construction site is very high, and 3% of the construction workers sustain work-related injury every year. And an average 45 fatal death occurred per year, and almost half caused because of fall of height. So I will also be talking about the various reason why these accidents happens in the construction. So estimated around 36 days were lost in a year due to work related ill health, and then over 5,500 cases of occupational cancers because of construction industry. So well, what are the different challenges? Like I said, that the job is very complex, as you know, that it entails all the engineering in one construction. If you're doing construction, you will be using civil engineering, you will be engineering using mechanical, maybe refractory, electrics, electronics, instrumentation, whatever you can think is normally a part of any construction. So any core industry, of course, and mobility is there in the sense because as I have said, that if you come on a particular day to some construction site, and maybe if you visit next day, maybe that excavation might be happening over there, or so as to say a foundation, you will be finding some foundation over there. So it is completely mobile, or if it is in the finishing stage, you never know, there you will find people painting, you will find people doing finishing job. And also it is unique. Why I am saying unique? That some projects are such that you will be doing it once in a lifetime. There are many projects which are huge big projects, so it is unique, in fact. And like I have already said, a lot of agency normally comes and work, and hazards are changing. I have already said that sometime you will find excavation, some foundation, or the columns going up. So, and ad hoc labor. So the labor force is totally ad hoc over here. Ad hoc in the sense they are not the trained, the permanent type of labor who is working over here. Okay. And as I have said that these are the major reason by which, in fact, there are other reasons also, but I have just sorted out the top 4 reasons because of which these accidents happen. So first is fall. Fall is a very common thing. In fact, even if you go around the city, you will find a lot of high-rise building which is coming. A bare minimum thing which I always say is the safety harness. You will find people not wearing it because maybe in India, as you know, that the risk perception, if you see, is very low, in fact, or maybe we have never been told or we have never been taught to follow all these safety rules. So fall is a very common because of our ignorance or because of our knowledge. Fall is a very common thing. Then stuck by object is there, means if you are standing at one place and you don't know, because as I have already said, the complexity is that every now and then things are changing at construction site, so you may be struck by an object, then being caught many a time is so happen that you lift a pipe or maybe a column or something like that, and you come in between two objects, then you are caught in between two objects. And finally the electrocution. So electrocution, why? Because everything is temporary, means you don't have a permanent thing. You will have live wires is a very common reason for the electrocution related death in construction industry. Live wires can occur in circuit breakers, control panel, light fixture, and then transformer, everything. So that's very important that you need to follow particular rules, and in order to bring down systematically these incidences at construction site. I'll move forward. This is just a brief illustration, like LT IFR is something which everybody knows, I think. So this LTFIR has come down in Tata Steel very systematically. We have been able to bring down the LTFIR. We have been implementing a lot of things. If you see, like safety policy governance, IT-based platform. We have field leadership training. Field leadership training is also a very important training which we normally give to each and every employee of Tata Steel. In 2012 we introduced zero cycle, because as you know that the footfall is around 45 to 50,000 inside Tata Steel Works. I'm talking about Jamshedpur. Then we introduced this game changer thing of zero cyclists. Previously the people used to come on cycle. Then introduction of process safety, then road infrastructure, then recalibrated risk matrix. In fact, recalibrated risk matrix we have now started using in our projects also. And maybe if although I don't have a slide around that, but I will speak on that. Then we have a safety reward and recognition thing. Then we have a process safety center. Now we are talking about data analytics. We are talking about experiential learning. So these are the things which we have been doing, and we are trying to achieve zero harm. That is our goal, and we are continuously moving around that. Now coming to the projects and construction, this is a very important area, and as because we have been doing things very systematically, just a small thing that as because our is approach, because of our approach, we have been able to bring down the incidences, especially in the project and construction. If you see, and all areas also it has come down, but I'm just showing that there are several initiatives like we have been implementing e-work permit, 6-party clearance, e-learning modules for vendors, connected workforce, and I will talk on all these things in my subsequent slides. A lot of digital initiatives we have taken. I have already told about HEC risk matrix. So if you talk about any project, so any project has got we say that we have 4 stages, and every stage you can get involved and mitigate the risk associated with the hazard. So if you talk the P0, we say P0 stage, which is a concept to approval basically. So the concept, when you are visualizing the things, so that is P0, where what we do that we try to list down, because we have a robust system where if any incident is happening, so there is a learning. So we will like to first of all implement all these learnings across Tata Steel, and suppose if new project is coming, we will try to see during the conceptualization stage only that all these learnings are getting implemented over there. I can give you a lot of examples around that. Suppose any moving machinery needs to have a guard, so that will be part, because you need to understand that you will be doing the estimation of the project. So while you are doing the estimate, you need to estimate it well. So all these, and I don't think doing safety thing will cost you a lot, in fact, but still as a process, we incorporate all those things. Then detail visioning phase, we say it, or you can say it as, once the project is passed, then we try to work on the detailing part, in fact. And of course, here then safety factors in design. Basically, now the project moves in onto the drawing board. So when it moves on the drawing board, then only a lot of things which come in, like so as to say, if you are trying to build a plant, then it's ladder, or so as to say it's steps. What type of steps you are going to make, and as you know that steps have got a particular angle, so those angles need to be considered during the design stage. And as you know that if you talk about one hazard which is always there in plant is slip, trip and fall. So you can mitigate the slip, trip and fall by just simple exercise which I'm talking about. Then you move on to specification phase, where of course a specification is very important, where you think about safety, lifespan of the equipment, whatever equipment you select. Suppose what is the material of the specification, what is the material specification. Suppose if it is a chemical plants, you will go for valves with PTFE linings, or so as to say stainless steel, or so you need to think, because as I have said that our process safety is also along with all this area, means HAZOP is required to be done, and then the different barriers which we have been doing, so those needs to be considered during the specification phase also. If you are selecting a safe fail mode, equipment need to be selected when you are doing this project. Then it comes this phase, everybody knows this is basically the construction. We call it build phase. So everything is around, whatever we are doing is doing for two things. One is that we do things safely during construction, and secondly, when the plant is running, it should run safe. So that complete, I will say the game is around that only. So if you do, like Professor Matthew was saying, that half the problem will be overcome if you design your problem things properly. So this then this is the build phase, and then finally commissioning and handing over. So commissioning and handing over is also a very detailed subject. Why I am saying a detailed subject? Because here you have engineering and project, and then it is getting handed over to the operation. So it's very important that the connectivity between these two needs to be there. Okay, and proper hand holding needs to be there, proper handing over needs to be there. There are something called PSR, pre-safety startup reviews are there. We make cross-functional team who goes around, we tries to find out that is something which is not missing. If something is missing, we will try to provide it before it is getting handed over. So a little bit, I think you guys may be knowing about design prevention, because everybody might be studying about this. So, but I just wanted to bring this 2 or 3 slides just to bring out the aspect of prevention through design. Basically, it is addressing occupational safety and health needs in design process to prevent or minimize the work-related hazard and risk associated with construction, manufacture, use, maintenance, and disposal of the facility, material, and equipment. So you can understand, as I have said, that it is two parts, that construction is also important, and then there as to say use and maintenance, means operation and maintenance. So prevention through design will help us. In fact, it is a very big, vast subject, but of course we need to start. If any big company is there, so we can go ahead with this. So this is a small example over here, here what we are trying to say that there are 2D drawings which are available. So you need to, kind of create 3D models. Now, 3D models, why? Because there are a lot of things by doing, converting the 2D drawings into a 3D model, because there are a lot of difficulties which you cannot visualize. As you know, everybody, whoever is part of construction, it is only the 2D drawing which we normally see, and based on that we do the construction. But if this tool is available to us, wherein a 3D, the complete 3D drawing is available, so it will be very easy to visualize and use this visualization technology to represent construction component and processes. Basically, by doing this, in fact, I have a small video also, which we normally develop before any construction. So I'm just trying to take a snapshot of all those processes. But so then VR construction model, then virtual walk, you can do virtual walk. In fact, there is something called class diagram, because there, as I have said, that mobility is there. Mobile means you will have different type of crane you will be using. So is those cranes, clashing with any of the structures that you need to see during your drawing board? Then you need to identify some hazards. There may be some hazards which you may not have identified. So maybe you can identify those hazards and eliminate. Okay, so this is scenario one. And scenario two, what I am talking about is that you don't have anything. You only have the PNID diagram. So what to do? This is a chemical plant which I am saying, and let me tell you, I have got an opportunity to build two chemical plants. We call it gas cleaning plant, byproduct plant. So this is a very important tool in today's context. If I see previously when I was doing this plant, let me tell you, we were not having these tools. That time it was completely visualization, and whoever understand and process safety, I think you guys are basically process safety personnel, so you know about the process safety. So in process safety, there are a lot of things which needs to be provided, like for containing the spillage and all those things. You need to bring in dike wall. You need to have a minimum distance between two installations. So that you can only do if you are able to make something on the drawing board in a 3D form. So there are things which will help you to analyze directly. And why I'm showing this? Because when you are ordering, then you might know that nothing is available. It is only the PNID which is there, as because what is my experience is, I'm just telling from my experience, it is PNID, and then you have to visualize the thing. So if you happen to create that, then certainly you will bring in all the aspect related to safety and of course maintainability and other things also. And the last thing was like equipment installation. So can we convert all the equipment 3D models and try to see then and there, like suppose if you are lifting, what is the load? So you can decide your cranes. Okay, so what will be your boom length? What will be your kind of, at what place you can position it? So these are the things which you can easily imagine if you are happen to analyzing, and this is directly done directly after identification from the hazard base, from past experience, incidence knowledge. So that process you guys know basically. So so these are some of the major technology adoption in construction. One is that I have talked about. I will be talking more on prevention through design, and bolted structure is again part of that only, prevention of design only. And then I will talk on bolted structure, in fact, then accessibility and maintainability, that I have already tried to touch upon. Then monitoring the site activities. This is a very important thing, let me tell you. And as because in the beginning I have said that we Indians do not have the understanding of so as to say risk. Okay, or even if we have, the risk perception is very low. So it is very important we only understand policing. So sometimes monitoring system also works. Then you have artificial intelligence, which is coming in a big way. In fact, in construction industry, on roads, in fact, we have been using it in roads. Now we are moving on to the construction side, wherein you can easily capture violations, or if somebody is doing mistake, then you can easily do that. In fact, then comes data analytics. As you know that big data is something which is means you need to analyze data and try to find out exactly where the problem is. Then the centralized, so we have centralized data management, MIS, then a statistical analysis and all those things. And then we have migrated to 100% e-work permit system. I'll talk on this. Then we have also started safety observation through digital modes. Means there are areas where you cannot reach. Maybe you might be knowing that if suppose I'm constructing an ESP, and you normally in ESP you put those plates. So when you are doing that, you never know what the construction person is doing over there, as because they are not habituated, or they are not, risk perception there is not high, so they may be not wearing safety belts. From here digital mode you can find it out. Then we have a safety selection of vendors through our CSMS. We have a very strong, that's altogether a different subject. It's not part of today. And skill assessment and enhancing capability building and cross-functional theme-based audits and all these things we are doing in fact. Now, what are the various best practices? So this I have already talked about, the prevention through design. And as I have said that bolted structure. So what we are basically trying to do, that we are trying to minimize the number of person at construction site. So that is the motto. And because like structures, we can directly we can make it, or we can manufacture it outside, not necessarily at construction, in a shop atmosphere where you have more controls on the system. So this bolted structure, it also reduces gas cutting and building at site. Then constructability and construction mock-up for critical and high rise, like better visualization. In fact, this I have already talked. And clash detections to avoid avoidance of rework and all those things. Accessibility and maintainability reviews can be done through. In fact, last project which I was doing was a BOD plant, we say a water cleaning plant. So there it was because there is a space constraint. So we had made a complete 3D of that, and as because it was made in at a space was a constraint, so multi-story buildings were made. And we have analyzed each and every every corner basically through 3D, like how the crane will approach and all those things. So then incorporate temporary platforms and approaches at design stage only. So this is a very important thing, because as you know, as I have already said, that most of the accident which happens is basically because of falling from height. So it is very important to give things which is if you can give an ease to the construction worker. So we analyze that where all we can give a temporary platform, where some critical welding is required to be done. So these are there in then and there in the design stage only, in fact. And some of the drawings, whatever is you are seeing here, is actual snapshot of what exactly we are doing. In fact, this clash diagram I have already said. Suppose if you are making EOT crane and you want to lift the carriers, then, and of course, if in the beginning only, if you need to see that what type of crane you are going to bring in, what will be the boom length, what will be the lift radius, what will be the lifting capacity. Okay, if you, and what will be the the load which you are going to lift. So if you happen to see it in, then you can do the engineering in a better way. And if you do a better way, then certainly during erection, all these problems which you can think of will not happen, certainly. This is a very thing, I think many of the people, in fact, I was talking to Sovik yesterday. Sovik said that he has this camera. So I'll tell you, as I have already said, that I have worked in both greenfield and brownfield. So you might think that brownfield is a difficult project. Yes, brownfield is difficult, but greenfield is also difficult, because both the projects will have a different ball game, is different system and procedure. So here what happens that in a brownfield you have to create drawings, or you have to create things and ease of construction. You need to find it out. There will be a hell lot of, in fact, the next slide I will be explaining you. So there is a scanner which we have. So we do the scanning of that area. Scanning is the live scanning, 3D scanning we call it. So, so if you see this drawing, so there are two parts over here. On the left side, you can see this is the, I will say, the raw data which we normally take from the scanner, and these are known as point clouds. So these are the point clouds which we have created, and based on that, after doing modeling, the right side is there. Now, once you have this drawing, try to understand, because in old plant, all drawings are not available. So now you have a complete picture exactly how you are going to do the erection, or how you are going to, and this is an actual case where I was part of the project manager, and we were supposed to reroute all these pipelines. Okay, so how to take the, and you can understand the type of structure which is there. So this has helped us to analyze the whole thing, and we were supposed to use the structures also, the existing structure, and the civil foundations were supposed to be made by the side of this. So you can understand so many, and actual, in fact, I have not included that in this presentation. The actual class diagram was calculated based on which, how you are going to take all the pipes through the different EA, and where you are going to put the crane, and then how you are going to lift the thing. So this was analyzed, and this is a very, very interesting thing. And in fact, I have enjoyed doing this type of analysis, and then developing drawings. And of course, after that, I came to safety. Now it will be getting done in Coke plant. So this is, previously I just wanted to show you two photographs wherein previously, if you see that a lot of welding and other things used to happen. So we currently, whatever we do is a bolted design. Little bit, you can understand that people need to develop drawing such that it is getting manufactured properly at shops, so that it come and fit over here, because fitter, and then you can, spanner is required to basically tighten the bolts. So this is also a very important and good thing, that not only the structural, also the pipes are getting prefabricated outside, and basically, and you can understand piping. Whoever is from the construction field, they can understand, if you try to do the piping job inside, then there is a civil job, there is a structural job, there is a piping job, hell lot of it will create mess. Now here you see, if you happen to develop the pipes and bring it to the site, and then then the number of people will go down, number of hazards will go down. Then this is another thing which is again a very good thing, I say. Then in the civil side, we have been using prefabricated rebar cages. As you know, rebar cages is again, the workers will be standing at the site, they will be trying to bind the, bending is done over there, and then you happen to do it at site. Suppose if this whole thing moves out of sight, whatever is there, the drawings, as you know, that all these bar bending diagrams are there, bar bending, the rebar cages drawings are there. So why to do it at site? So it is normally done outside the site, and again it has been brought over here, and accordingly reduces the number of manpower interventions over here. So this, I think most of the people might be using, but still standard scaffoldings, and all scaffoldings are designed. Okay, all scaffoldings are at the site is designed, and whatever processes which are there is being followed. Because there are scaffoldings which normally goes up with the building. So you have a space, you have a very expert agency who has been doing this actually. And then this is a powered access systems which we have been using in order to reduce those scaffoldings and people going directly. This is another example. What I said, that on the drawing board, if you happen to design your movements also, the logistics part, I'm talking about the left hand side drawing photographs, wherein wherein if you don't have to do things haphazardly. Means if you see this, these are all the foundation for the columns, and there are multiple columns which are supposed to come on the other side. But over here, if you see that at one side the job has been done, it in fact now it is it is completely barricaded. Hard barricades have been provided. Okay, so that no one can go inside, and then the movement of the excavators is, if it happens in one line, so again you eliminate a lot of hazards. And if the planning is done properly on the drawing board, so we can take it forward. The drawings which are being, the photographs which are being shown in the right hand side, those are shuttering boards. Okay, normally when I started my career in construction, I thought that maximum you can do 1.5 the concrete pouring and all, but you can take it to 2.5 based on the civil engineers will be able to tell you that what is the maximum you can do it, and thereby again same thing, you can reduce it. The number of course number of joints will reduce, that is from the quality point of view, but of course the number of interventions will go down, otherwise every 1.5 times you will keep on increasing. So that is another thing which. Then these are some of the thing, automatic bar bending machines, which I was talking about, bar bending, which is on the shop side. Then you have crunching machines. If you know that after piling, you normally what you do that the manpower goes, and then the we call it the pile preparation, in fact. So that thing can be done through this, by applied pile, crunching machines, which can immediately twist and take it out from that place only, and then you can bring your crane and move out all these the pile tops. Then similarly, deck sheets. Normally these deck sheets are very neat sheets which we normally use when once you are doing the you are doing the suppose the roof of any building. So deck sheets are used. Then modular frameworks are being used. Okay. And again, if you talk about these deck sheets, it is part of the design now. Okay, suppose if there is any building which is getting designed, with that design, these deck sheets are also getting designed. So these are some of the digital interventions which we are talking about. In fact, I have not put in a lot of digital part. There are a lot of digital things which are happening. There is something called geofencing. If you know about that, those are being created. Every person is getting tracked. I said that in the beginning that I will talk about connected workforce. Whoever moves around, I can track him on the on the map, that where is that guy and what he is doing. In fact, I will just tell you an example that we are just trying to see that who all are staying inside works. So we were just tracking a crane driver. That crane driver has gone out for 4 times, and in 24 hours. So we thought that why he is going out? So he is going out to take tea. But at the end of the day, he should leave the site, after 12 hours. So those are the things which we are doing. We are tracking, monitoring. Then we have site access control, which we have created, because you might be knowing that many a times it so happens that sometimes the people come normally, even if he is not required. So we have created the site access control. Amenities have been created, and these again I will say these are all part of the design. Amenities, sheds, and restroom, even the canteens and all. Where canteen means the people can sit and eat. All these are part of the design process, in fact. And as I remember, fortunately when all these things started, I was not in the construction at Kalinga Nagar, in fact, but I talk, whenever I talk to my colleagues over there, so they will be busy in trying to make all these things. So these things comes handy. You will think that you can have short-term vision that you want to do, but this also improves the productivity. If you will see, it improves the productivity immense. Means if you just see that you were doing shuttering, which was around 1.5 meter, here you do it in 2.5 meter. Now the lifts, which were you were doing small lift, so and here you can lift it in one go. Okay, so your productivity will go up, your manpower will be less, and at the end of the day, the project will cost you less if you happen to do that actually. And we have been using prefabricated building mostly. If you see in Kalinganagar, all are prefabricated building, which is very easy to construct, not that. Then this is an e-permit. In fact, e-permit is something which is very new, not new, it is already 3-4 years old. So we have been doing this e-permit basically to improve safety by capturing every aspect of process from start to finish. So here you will have the names, you cannot change the names. Okay, what is the job which has been given? You are able to visualize the thing. Here, we have connected it with our, qualification, and exactly now we have not created that, but now what we are trying to do, that we will assign people, who are authorized to do high risk job. So then you suppose if you are giving an e-permit, and you have been asked to give e-permit of 4 guys, and out of those 4 guys, if one guy who is not aware of working, in the confined space, and still, as because your system will not allow you to understand if he is that knowledgeable, or so as to say, and he has the understanding of working at high risk area. If you don't have that visibility, then naturally you will ask him to go. Okay, so here that visibility, this has not started. In fact, we are on the way. I will not say that it is there at this moment, but we are on the way. Means we are going to connect everything: the medical report, his training report. Then we are trying to, as I have said, that we are trying to create experiential learning. So all those things are getting connected over here, so that the right person is at the right job on right time at right location. Whatever I was talking, I was talking about, geofencing, I was talking about access control, I was talking about right job. Means if you are giving, if that person is, entitled is a welder or a fitter, okay, somebody, if you, many a time, many accidents happen inside, toppling case. That's a very common case, F-15 toppling at construction site. Why it happens? You will find the flagman who is supposed to, do the rigging job will be driving the F-15, because that job is on a higher side. If you see in the hierarchi of construction, so driver is considered to be a better job than to a, sewing flag. So he will be doing that. And once he does that, then it is going to, maybe he doesn't have the understanding of how much load is required to be lifted. And if you lift more loads, then certainly toppling will take place. So here, all these things will certainly bring in that change, and will not allow people, if they don't understand, about the construction, in fact. And at the end of the year, I had one small, video which I would like to show you all, like virtual construction, which I have talked about in my. So this is how you can, basically design your whole work. In fact, and these are all, animated, but I don't say keep animated animation is being done. This is only to show you all. Basically, you can analyze each and every drawing on the drawing board before going to the construction. In fact, and also various, there are some notes and other things which are given, lift plans are there, and all those things, so you can design it while you are going for the designing, actually. So this will give you a very, great visibility, and help you to, in fact, as I've already said, where to position the crane. Suppose if you are doing some, this is a hopper preparation over here. So the hopper can be, welded outside, and in one go you can lift it and put it in the frame where it is supposed to go. And you can see in the upper left hand corner, the time and date is also there, and it gives you a lot of flexibility in planning also, like how much time you will take in doing this. So this was then what is the way forward? So I have tried to cover a lot of way forward in my presentation, in fact. So the adoption of various safety technology and automation have significantly increased the effectiveness of health and safety management on construction sites. So it has increased, and we need to further leverage digital. In fact, digital is something which, as you know, that is something which is inevitable, I will say. If you don't use it, then as I have said, that it doesn't talk about only safety, it also talk about productivity. If you do things safely, then automatically you will do things which are of a quality, which are of the productivity will go up. The construction company should adopt standard safety practices and policy combined with implementation of digital health and safety tools and techniques could assist site manager, supervisor to coordinate, ensure efficiency of their construction projects. One more thing which I have not shown here, in fact, is the each and every our SOPs. Although we have not done that in this construction, but each and every SOP e-learning modules have been made, and each and every persons are getting trained on those e-modules. And e-modules, why e-modules? Because as you know, that it's a different type of learning. The retentions need to go up. If you happen to show them more and more visualization, then the retention is there, in fact. Otherwise, the normal mundane type SOP, if you read it, you may be that everybody will not read it, and so that is one thing which we are doing. We will be extending it further, in fact. Then I have been talking about that EHS risk matrix. So EHS risk matrix, in fact, I have written it also in the my last point, that EHS risk matrix. So spelling is wrong, in fact. So in the EHS risk matrix, if you see that each and every job is getting analyzed, and we are just trying to first of all understand what is the risk involved over there, and we are trying to create a risk heat risk matrix, heat maps of each and every activity, wherein as you know that we red, yellow and green, all the risks are getting divided into red, yellow, blue and green. So wherever it is red, so we immediately try to find out a mitigation around that. Similarly, the yellow also we find out a mitigation and try to bring that to to blue risk, in fact. So this is an ongoing activity. Now all the activities, all construction activities, we are applying this actually. Okay, the EHS means the heat map needs to be made for each and every activity that we have started. Then I have already talked about data analytics. If robotics can help us wherever the risk is high, okay, and it is in the red zone. So naturally, if robotics can come, that can help us in improving this. Capability development, skill enhancement, I have already talked about. Then there is, safety data analytics and IoT. In fact, in IoT, we have already given, safety watch, we call it. And this safety watch is basically giving you the details of the the pulse rate and then the temperature of the person in working in the critical area. So this we have been doing, but we are not currently doing in construction, so we can take it over there. Then safety data analytics, I have already said that data gives you a lot of information, and at the end of the day, with that information you can build in knowledge, and with that knowledge you can mitigate the risk, in fact. And then through the use of technology we can achieve our objective, which is zero harm at project site. And I'm not saying at project site because it is incomplete Tata Steel. In fact, we would like to achieve zero harm through this technology and other things. I think this was my last slide. Thank you. I was able to complete it before time. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir, for the nice presentation. You have mentioned about virtual VR construction model, 3D model, and live worker tracking. So, which are the upcoming safety technologies. So, it was a very informative session, and there are many questions in the chat box. So, I am handing over the session to Mr. Shovik Das and Mr. Ashish Garg. Over to you both.
Thank you, Sanjana. Thank you, sir, for this very informative session. Actually, sir, preventive through design. This is itself a very interesting topic, and so eloquently you have explained the topic. It has become more interesting. And sir, we have received so many questions in the chat box. So I am taking few of them, sir. So the sir, first question is, how process safety is different from normal safety in construction industry?
See, you need to understand one very important thing, that process safety, in fact, is something to do with the plant in operation. Okay. And design prevention is something you can use it in construction as well as in plant which is operating, wherein your past experience, you might be having a lot of ideas and ways by which, and there are a lot of ideas which are coming from the process safety that can get implemented during the design stage so that your plant operate in a better way. So if we talk about process safety is, again, you can understand, it talks about loss of containment, it talks about then barriers related to that. So that is when the plant is in operation. But of course, design prevention can be taken into account if the ideas or whatever has come up in the HAZOP, or there are a lot of barriers which also, it's not only the HAZOP, there are a lot of learning which is going on, which are a lot of incidents which are happening. If those incidents, we certainly, we all are engineers, we will come out of the solution. And if the solution is there, it needs to be implemented when you are trying to go for a new project. So that was what I hope I have answered it properly. I don't know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, sir, the next question is, how tower crane is tested as per the statutory requirement?
So it has got a statutory requirement actually. If you see, I think it is in 1 year it needs to be tested. Okay, and you have a third party over there, and of course we also get ourselves involved over there. So it has there are two parts of it. It has got rope is there, rope needs to be tested, and then the structure needs to be tested. But here in Tata Steel, what we are doing, that we are trying to also, in fact, it is, I will say that it was not mentioned. We only take trains which are less than 5 years, if I remember correctly, or maybe 7 years. I think it is 5 years, especially in construction. So that itself, the importance, of course, testing is a statutory norm, we are following it, but we don't take any cranes which are above 5 years, in fact. So that brings a lot of safety things there only, then and there only. In fact, all the cranes are, whatever I have seen now, because currently I am not associated with, construction, but in last visit are of latest technology. Whatever comes in your mind, it is there, pull cords and all those things are there now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Now the next question is, how to analyze every possible hazard and safety scenarios using this virtual reality technology, and how to address or incorporate this risk control system during the concept design stage.
So you have asked two questions. One is that how do you, virtual design, how you are bringing in these risks, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So as I have said that, EHS risk matrix, the heat maps, what we are talking about. So each and every process, suppose if we are, we are trying to erect structures. So if you are trying to erect a structures, there are some existing hazards. So first we sit on the and then analyze that what all are the different hazards over there, and we categorize them. As you know that the heat map which is being made is based on consequence and frequency, in fact. So based on that, if we happen to do that, whatever comes in the red risk, we take the risk mitigation. And of course, now if you have a 3D model, so it is very easy to, analyze those risks, which I was saying. Class diagram was one thing which I have explained. or the virtual walks which we do. What is the distance from, if you see a conveyor belt is there. So when you are doing a virtual walk, you can easily find out that what is the gap. Normally now standards are there that the gap between the walkway should be, I think, 1.2 or 1.5 meters. There are standards which are there. But of course, if you do a virtual walk, then you can also have that feeling. If you're doing it for the first time, I'm saying, all the things are not for the first time. Because I'm a project guy, I've been doing all these things, but maybe many things are like that. You will be doing it first time. So if you happen to do the virtual line walks, then automatically you will analyze more risk, or the risk which is there, which will be there. So that will be incorporated in the heat risk matrix, and thereby you can find out the mitigation. So this was question number 1, in fact. The question number 2 was, what was the question number 2?
It was that how risk control systems can be incorporated during the concept design stage.
Of course, suppose I think we have not been doing this risk thing in the concept stage. Concept stage, I only said that the learnings need to be implemented. All the learnings, like I gave the example of staircases. Okay, I gave you the example of guards in all moving machinery. I gave you example of access control. So those things need to be taken into account. And the risk part or the HAZOP part, I think you can do it in the analysis in this part also, but the detailing will come only when you go into the design phase actually.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Now I would like to all the participants to unmute themselves, and if they have some questions, they can ask directly, sir. Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir. Sir, is this a cost factor, is a barrier for our?
Mr. Alok, isn't it? So I already said that people think, doing all these things may cost you, but my point is that at the end of the day, if you happen to improve the safety at the site, and I have been saying in my presentation again and again that productivity is also getting improved. Okay, so it's both ways. In fact, if you happen to improve, it's a very known fact that if the safety of your site is top class, let me tell you, you will be able to complete your project on time, and that's the biggest, so as to say, the motivation to if you are able to complete the project on time, then certainly you will save a lot of money, in fact. So I don't think that cost will come into picture actually. Comes into picture, in fact. And these are not very costly. I am just saying that fabricated pipe needs to come, or the sariyas getting bended at the outside and then again coming inside. So these are it's very cost effective, in fact. Yeah.
Sir, this is Ramchandra Raju from ISRO Sriharikota, sir. Actually, I was the employee of Tata Steel during 2012 to 2013. Then I got an opportunity to work with ISRO. Then I have been shifted here. My point is, you told that you are going to develop a 3D model. That actually it will be under the scope of safety team or facility team, sir, and how you are going to assess the safety requirements by that 3D model development.
3D model that safety cannot do, let me tell you. Safety is, of course, that is, I will tell you that in Tata Steel, safety is more a line function. So it is a well established process over here. We are only facilitating them in doing all these things. If you talk about PSM, so we have PSM expert in safety. So if you see, we have process safety expert. Now we are trying to develop, design prevention or design experts. We are trying. I will not say that, but if you talk about the line function, they very well understand all these things. In fact, all these things I'm presenting, taking from them only. I am not doing anything, but because I come from safety, construction background, so I know about this thing. That's why I'm speaking. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. If I was in Tata Steel, I would be under you only, sir, by this time. Thank you, sir. Again, I am listening your lecture. Thank you so much.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I have one question, sir.
Rahul?
Hello. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, Rahul, you're audible. Yeah.
Okay. So, sir, just wanted to, sir, know, sir, can some kind of analytics or advanced forecasting model can be used in construction industry to improve safety, sir? So, some kind of forecasting models or advanced mathematical models, sir.
So that I'm saying, it is there. Means mathematical modeling towards what? Means is it towards construction or towards safety? Means what do you
So,
want?
sir, like for like analyzing our various kind of near misses that is occurring at different project sites, and some kind of modeling can predict us or forecast what kind of injury or incidences can happen next. So, like in aviation industries, we are using the various advanced tools. So, can those be applied?
That you know that currently we are working on that. And certainly there are tools, as I have said, I have been saying, in fact, there are a lot of
Yes.
tools as the whatever line works, what we do is getting recorded, whatever, incidents which happen, it's getting recorded. So if
Yes.
we need to find out a tool which can analyze those things and of course try to create, models wherein we can execute these projects safely, in fact. So we are working on that. I will not say that we are successful. We are working on that in our way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Neeraj Sinha, can you able to hear me?
Yeah, sir. I'm able to hear you.
I'm Dr. Yogeshwar, retired from JSW Corporate Head, and now I'm presently as an advisor. I would like to know from you, digital technology has been applied in Tata projects now?
Tata projects, I'm not aware actually. I'm not aware about what Tata projects are doing, so I will not be able to tell you.
So where in your area where you're working as a project safety,
Yeah.
is it applied geofencing?
Yeah. That these are all real examples which we were talking about. Connected workforce, like I told you, we can track each and every person.
Now being functioned, being monitored through the geofencing and digital technology.
Yeah, I can tell you now exactly that how many people are inside work, how many people have worked above 12 hours, how many people have worked about 14 hours. Just now I can tell you. It is a live model is available, live data is available.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. It is so nice to listen. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Anjana, can I take over?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All good talks should come to an end. Neeraj, how do I really thank you? I am mesmerized with your talk. You have enthused my scholars. My PhD scholars are enthused. When you're talking about virtual reality models, when you're talking about data analytics, when you're talking, all these things, all my scholars are enthused. And many of the scholars are working in this field. Virtual reality model, VR model for steel plants. We also work on the augmented reality models. I'm really happy. Now I understood how Tata Steel, which is 120 years old, is young even today. You've gone out of traditional construction safety models like using helmets and shoes always, that is the criteria. You never talked about those things. You talk much in an advanced way, prevention through design, which is an issue of the world now. The NIOSH is working how to bring prevention through design in the industries. They took the model of let us teach all these things in the industry, in the education level, in the primary institutes. That's how COE has come into picture. One of the most important deliverables for COE is to bring all these technologies at the educational level or to help industries also directly. So these PTD, these advanced analytics, all those things are the deliverables of our COE. And I'm very happy you can be one of the
Professor Maiti would be very happy to take you as one of the good resource for developing many problems, many projects, many courses in COE. Because I never seen a person talking on construction safety at this level till now. If you ask anybody to talk on the construction safety, they talk on the conventional, traditional things. You moved very much ahead. That's why Tata Steel has become one of the good plants in the construction safety. Though you moved from say 5 million to now even 30, 40 million. So the safety performance figures are very, and all my colleagues in this meeting, I want to tell you, putting good safety management systems, putting PTD doesn't mean zero incident. But it is very difficult to make an incident in these cases. It's very difficult to make an incident even if you want to do. Don't think if I put all these things, it will become zero incident. But people will not say, oh, it should not have happened. That sort of things will not happen. If anything has to happen, it is a big thing to happen. So that's how Tata Steel is moving ahead. Neeraj, I have a request to you. With so many things you talked about the PTD and the construction safety, it is a real platform for you. You should submit paper in the conference which we are going to have. You submit the abstract, and you have all the things with you to put it in the little academic way. My colleagues, my scholars will help you. And this is apt. This will be I read many papers on the construction, PTD and the construction and all those things. You have much more information what those people have got it. And I want to ask you one question, Neeraj. During my engineering days, I studied bolted design should be shifted to welded design. Welded design is more positive. There will not be loosening of the fasteners. All those things I used to think. Again, we are going back to bolted design. What happened to those disadvantages of the bolted design?
In fact, let me tell you, before coming to this presentation, I was, aware that this question is going to come. Okay. And as because I am not a civil engineer, although I am a mechanical engineer, of course. So I thought that I will do some study or I will ask the expert before I present. So I have done. So basically, the strength bolted and welded joint both are same. In fact, if you talk about, okay. And design wise, we have got two different options. So we, as Tata Steel, has adopted bolted construction to avoid site welding during the erection. And during erection, hot works is unsafe in comparison to the bolt tightening process. And moreover, site bolted connection reduces the erection timeout. So that was the reason. And whatever has been done is been done by the experts. And we have good designers, especially in structural, in fact. I think he is from IT, this college only means. So we have good team over there, and they have been, and that is the thing.
Nice, Neeraj. I asked you, I want you to explain to the audience. I also did a lot of research in this bolted, welded, all these things. Good. Professor Maiti, would you like to ask anything to Neeraj?
No, only I just want to compliment Neeraj. Basically, in 2013-14, there were one special issue in a very high-rated journal, Automation in Construction. And I found, and that was basically in Texas A&M and the US good universities, they published some 12 to 14 papers. And I'm amazed to see that almost everything you have shown in today's presentation. When they started this the 3D modeling, virtual reality, construction, erection, all the phases, how safety prevention through design concepts can be built into it, with all the drawings also. Most of the drawings also I find so much of, that is what I want to tell you, that Tata Steel is far as well ahead with the advancement. Thank you so much, Neeraj ji. It's a wonderful lecture, and we are really benefited, extremely benefited, I can tell you, from the academics point of view also. I was having doubt that, okay, these things we are talking, but whether industry will accept some of the things. You cleared my doubt. There is no, I don't have any doubt now that what we are doing, I think all can be implemented in the industry level. And that's a great lecture. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Mathi, and thank you, Dr. OBK, for giving me an opportunity to speak. And in fact, let me tell you, whatever subject I have selected, of course, has been guided by Professor OBK. In fact, in the beginning, I was really, I was thinking what to present. He said that you need to present something on construction safety. Then he guided me that why don't you present something on, design prevention. So then, and let me tell you, this presentation, whatever has been made, of course, it's not been made in one day. It took some more than 15-20 days, but it has evolved. And I also feel that whatever we are doing, we have been putting it on in this presentation, and we'll take it forward, in fact, from here.
Undoubtedly, Neeraj, it's a great presentation. We want this to be published in the international journals also.
Sure.
Tata Steel should be visible in the international journals also. That's what I keep telling Mr. Narendran many times. The practices of Tata Steel should be taken to the world. I'm very happy to see Dr. Yogeshwar. First time, are you attending these sessions, Dr. Yogeshwar?
Actually, I am not attending, sir. I came to know through my friend.
Come on, you attend. JSW is the
he sent me a link. He sent me a link. Then I thought to let me attend. Then it is really useful. And also, I'm so nice to see you after a long time.
Yeah.
And I could not able to recognize you after seeing the OB. I could able to say yes, he is the Mr. OB Krishna. I could able to see.
Come on, Dr. Yogeshwar, you should give a talk on you're an expert on safety management, and JSW. Your chairman, Sajjan Jindal, was a very good friend of mine.
Thank you,
sir. You should contribute, and very happy to see.
Thank you so much for speaking about that.
ISRO is coming with a lot of questions. ISRO is a very our flagship organization. You are coming up with many questions. Of course, we will have one of the speakers from ISRO in the coming sessions. So thank you, Neeraj. Thank you very much for your great talk. Thank you, the moderators. The Sinjana, your moderation is as pretty as you are looking.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. All the moderators moderating the questions and all those things, and making this successful. The Savik, Ashish, thank you very much, and all the participants who are here. So thank you for your very active participation in the questions, and. Dr. Yogeshwar, keep attending these questions. Persons like you attending and putting questions will be a great motivation to the speakers.
Nice, sure. Thank you, sir. It's so nice to you. Learning is never ending. I learned a lot. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Finally, IIT for giving this platform. Thank you, Professor Maiti. This is your baby again. I need not thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot.